Welcome to Samlesbury Hall. This magnificent building was built way back in the year 1322. Every single room has a fabulous story spanning over 800 years of history. By far the most famous of those stories is the story of the White Lady of Samlesbury and how her lover, a young boy called de Horton, was murdered over 400 years ago. Let's have a look at the grave. Our story starts right here, in what's known as Lady Dorothea's southwest quarters. On a beautiful, beautiful May day, she woke up from her bed. She made her way along the long gallery, across the manicured lawns of Samlesbury Hall, and into the forest. There she came across a very, very handsome young lad called de Horton. It was literally love at first sight, but a huge problem for young Dorothea. When she came back here to the hall, she told her father she'd met this young boy. He was absolutely furious. "We are Catholics, they're Protestants. You'll never see him again. If you do, lass, I'll have you banished. You live with the nuns in the south of France. We're Catholics. He's a Protestant. He'll never take your hand in marriage." The sad thing about this whole relationship was that there were two wealthy landowners, the Horton family from Horton Towers and the Southwards from Samlesbury Hall. Lady Dorothea was horrified at her father's remarks, but if anything, his threat seemed to fuel their love. She continued the relationship. Her father warned her again, "If you continue this relationship, I'll have you banished. You live with the nuns in the south of France in Marseille. We are Catholics, they're Protestants. He's not welcome. He'll never take your hand in marriage. You will never see him again." He then told her two brothers, "Right, boys, do what's necessary." On a beautiful, beautiful moonlit night, she left her bed and made her way across the lawns of Samlesbury Hall, here into the forest, and there, on the fringe of the forest, she met young de Horton. On seeing her, he very, very politely bowed. He knelt down and affectionately kissed her hand. He reached into his pocket and produced a huge, huge engagement ring. "Oh, Dorothea, Dorothea, will you end this heartache and become my wife?" A huge smile came across her face, and she gratefully accepted his proposal. They hugged each other in the moonlight here in the forest. All of a sudden, they heard the sound of rustling of the leaves, and Dorothea's two brothers arrived with two very sharp knives. They brutally murdered young de Horton right in front of her. She was dragged back into the building with tears streaming down her face. Her heart had been snapped in two. The following morning, her cruel father had her sent to live with the nuns in the south of France. On arriving there, that poor girl never ate again, she never slept again, and she never drank again, and she died literally of a broken heart. That's when the famous sightings of the White Lady of Samlesbury have taken place. Always across the road to our right, where she's caused a few problems with motorists, but always in between the horse chestnut tree and the yew tree. In 1926, a most amazing find took place when the road to our right was widened and they put what's called a herringbone drainage system right across the lawns. One of those trenches went in between the horse chestnut and the yew tree, and they found a skeleton's foot. They called him Blackburn CID because they really felt it was a murder scene. Well, the Blackburn police officers removed a lot more soil and they found a skeleton just 2 feet beneath the surface. On one of those fingers was a huge, huge ring. The ring was taken off, carefully inspected, and had the words Dorothea de Horton. It was none other than young de Horton, and that would explain why the White Lady will always make her way across the road here to the very grave of the only boy that ever showed her any love and any real affection. Her story was definitely an affair of the heart, and the grave has been the final resting place of young de Horton for over 400 years. A very sad, but also a very true story.